I just want to get y'all take, and we could do this along with the audience. We're gonna settle this debate, right? Who is the most influential artist from New York in the past decade? That's 10 years. It's 2025 right now. So do the math. And if you say somebody wild, I just cut your mic off. So, you know what I'm saying? Don't come in here talking about, I mean, we are talking about influential, so maybe 6ix9ine, but don't say 6ix9ine. I'll cut your mic off. We finna talk. Who want to start? We finna talk.
I guess I'll start, and it's gonna be a wild take. I know the audience. It depends. If the audience is younger, they may agree. So I think it goes two ways, right? If you really tapped into the streets, Bambino and 22 G's, they have influenced New York music.
We finna talk.
From 20. If you're talking about that 2015 to 2025 range, they've done a really good way of influencing drill rap because that's kind of what New York has been known for, and now it's evolved into sexy drill, right? Or whatever they want to call it. So I would say, like, if you're really tapped in, it'll be those two. But if you're really looking at like who's was able to commercialize and push the sound out, I'll kind of give it more to like a Chef G and Pop Smoke. So I think those are the two artists who have been most influential in these 10-year span. Without those two, you don't get Bronx drill, right? Without those two, you don't really get sexy drill. With kind of what's going on with K Flock,
We finna
it
talk.
sucks that he's in prison, as well as Chow Lee and that whole group. So that's my take. Hopefully the audience agrees, but I think yeah, those two, Chef G, Pop Smoke.
I mean, I think there's only one answer. I think it has to be A Boogie when you talk about influence. I think he's also probably one of the most underappreciated artists in hip hop as a whole right now. So I think Boogie comes out maybe 2014, 2015, and then we get the auto tune mixed with the rap. And it's still that very melodic feel, which I think that's kind of where music is at or kind of emerging out of. So from Boogie, you get TJ. You get a bunch of other artists, even outside of New York, who are moving that sound. I think it's also connected to sexy drill. I think that comes out of that as well, where it's that smooth melodic kind of tone that we see with those kind of artists, and that's even worked its way into Drake songs, right? Cash Cobain's producer Drake, a lot Drake has used that sound on a few songs. So I think that's all a branch of Boogie, maybe not absolutely directly, but I think that's where we see where New York City is at. I think he's probably New York City's biggest artist as well. Multiple platinum singles. I think he might have some platinum albums. He's done tours. He's been selling out, and he's been consistent. I think it literally 10 years of consistent hit making, 10 years of consistent touring, and 10 years of staying out of the nonsense. So salute to Boogie and salute to all my bros out in Highbridge, man.
That was a biased answer, but I had.
Yeah, Highbridge is in Harlem, right?
We finna talk.
That's the Bronx.
Bronx.
Oh,
West side,
okay,
west side of the Bronx.
I asked a question because I think it's A Boogie for sure. I want to say Pop too, just because of like what New York music sounds like from the outside now. So I probably put those two as the top 10 right now. I think A Boogie's career is definitely underrated. And I feel like there's a lot of artists that get praised before him. I wonder why, because he stays out the spotlight a lot. But just consistent. I was looking at his catalog the other day. I think Pop, 5 years removed, rest in peace. I think he's kind of set the tone for what New York artists release to the world because he had a certain tone that kind of meshed with everything, especially internationally. Definitely those two, Pop and Boogie. For sure.
We're gonna talk A Boogie twice. Interesting. We'll see. We'll put it on TikTok, put it on YouTube, see what the people say. I have no horse in the race. We finna talk that New York jibber jab, whatever you want to call it. You know what I'm saying? It's a little too rough for me.
You make that point that is a little too rough. Like, all right, you take an A Boogie album, you take one of Pop Smoke's albums. I'm not talking about accolades, and you put both of them on, right? Which one sounds more like this is what New York will sound like? The same way that like Nas, Illmatic, people were like, oh, when I put this shit on, this is what I think New York sounds like by not living there. So which one would you say
Pop Smoke
gives you more of that feel?
Pop Smoke, for sure. A Boogie don't sound New York to me. He kind of has his own lane. I personally, I don't listen to much A Boogie because it's a little too like for me, like his voice with how he kind of does that melodic, whiny type of thing with the auto tune doesn't connect with me. I've never been a big A Boogie fan, but I know when I go to New York, they love playing A Boogie. So he does have motion, but when I think me as someone not from New York, when I think New York sound, yeah, Pop Smoke. That's what comes to mind.
Yeah, also, I mean, that's a good question. But that's to the rest of the world. And influence doesn't have to dictate what a person sounds like from a certain area. Like, Lil Uzi don't sound like a Philly rapper, but he's from the heart of Philly. I think just how someone sounds and how it resonates with a ton of people, who starts to copy everybody. I would put those two almost at the same level. I think A Boogie's melodic thing just plays well because that's what rap is now. It's like this in between. Regardless if you listen to his music or not. But, yeah, just my thoughts. We'll see what the comments say though. I'm excited for that.
I didn't